We're up at Nareen. This is a 670mm rainfall area. Typically quite high intensity grazing, a little bit of cropping, but generally too wet to crop.
We run predominantly female animals, so it's all breeding, merino sheep and beef cattle.
We've got rolling topography with little streams and creeks. We've been able to continue, with the help of CMA, a long-term revegetation and program to fence off a lot of our waterways. So I think now we've probably got 50 kilometres of waterways that are protected. I think since we've been here, which is about 16 years, we've done 60 or 70 kilometres of new fencing and probably about 20 kilometres of replacement fencing. I suppose the motivations for us have been twofold. Firstly, it's to protect the waterways. So under these grazing systems where you've got a lot of animals running around trying to find every blade of grass, inevitably they do damage to the exposed soil around the edge of the water. We've got high velocity water. The erosion just goes from bad to worse. Well, there's been a lot of jackaroos come through Nareen over the years, and there'd be very few of them that haven't come a buster down in the creeks chasing cattle. The areas where the cattle particularly like, they work over, and in the end they turn it into a quagmire. And a lot of animals have breathed their last breath down in those quagmires, unfortunately, and to be able to keep the stock out of those difficult areas, we think is a real plus.
Well, the main changes that we've noticed is regeneration of the banks of the creeks, particularly. Areas that I would have thought might not have grown anything again because they're so exposed have all grassed over. I'd say 90% of the banks have grassed over. The single red gums have regenerated, particularly on those banks. Lots of little plants are coming up and probably not as boggy anymore.
And 1 million frogs and probably 500,000 tiger snakes would be my guess, but we'll just leave them alone. The CMA's professional input's been really important, that it's helped us to do it properly, get the parameters right of how far back we're fencing from creeks, what we're trying to achieve on revegetation. I think we've all refined our views a little bit on tree planting. We've really come back more to chemicals and natural chemical spray to kill the phalaris, and then rely on natural regeneration. Obviously the funding's helped. I don't think that we could have kept going on this program through some quite difficult years there, and when most of Eastern Australia was going through a pretty severe drought. CMA's funding's been a major assistance there. Initially we were a bit worried that we were going to deny livestock access to the waterways, but together we've sort of worked out how to put better water systems back in place that are less reliant on rainfall. Without the CMA's sort of oversight and involvement, I suspect we would have done a half a job, and I'd like to think actually we've done a pretty good job.